Welcome back to this week's Bangkok Chitchat. Today we will be speaking with the co-founders of Bangkok Community Health Foundation, Greg Lange and Friso Poldervaart. To allow us to share the community, please share, like, comment and subscribe. As a brief background, Greg Lange is the owner of Sunrise Tacos and Margarita Storm based in Bangkok. The foundation was founded in 2020 during the height of the COVID crisis. He was approached by a Klong Toei community to use his restaurant kitchen to prepare food for the poor, who were struggling to get enough food to feed themselves, and he agreed. This has led to helping other communities, providing sanitation facilities and products, fixing dilapidated housing, as well as providing teaching to the kids, as well as providing oxygen and other necessities. In the beginning, Greg and Friso and their friends came together on Sunday afternoons to hand out hot meals to the Klong Toei community. Today, they provide over 2,000 meals and food parcels to 39 communities and have around 280 Thai and foreign volunteers with the support of local politicians and other charitable groups. However, the job is never done. And they're always open to new volunteers and donations to continue their mission of helping those less fortunate. I've included some links in the description so you can contact them or provide a donation to them. So I'd ask you to provide some support, as I will be doing myself. Yeah. So welcome, Greg and Friso.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
So you've got a busy day today, yeah?
Yeah, every day is busy.
Every day, yeah. This is day 84 of our non-stop work. So, yeah, every day is another day of a lot of things to solve and a lot of people to help. So, yes.
That's great.
We love helping.
No, I can see that. I can see that. So, just as an opener, yeah, what are the major challenges you are facing during this crisis?
Well, it changes. Every cycle or every wave has new challenges. Right now, it would be beds, and that's for everybody. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. There are no hospital beds for the most part in Bangkok right now. And then the other one is, of course, if you're staying at home, certain people have COVID symptoms more than others, and they have a lack of oxygen. And so if you're at home, it's not one of those things you go to the kitchen and just pull out a bottle of oxygen. So we are supporting that as well.
Basically, it's sourcing materials, yeah, to help people under the different circumstances. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's really responding to the things that happen. For example, now we also have the situation with the worker camps, where people are stuck inside the camps because they have to quarantine. Not in every case, the company takes good care of the workers inside. So this is also something we took on. We are visiting these camps. We are looking to find these camps and supply them with anything they need, basically mostly food, that, they have no income. And if the construction company doesn't support with anything, which does happen, these people are literally starving inside. Obviously, they're not allowed to go outside because they're ordered to quarantine there. So that's something we also took on. So yeah, it's very hard to describe, what is it we not do maybe at this point, because
right.
We're Bangkok Community Health. We help the community, and that is in any case or any person that has issues. So
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Hunger is a big thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, both of you have backgrounds in the hospitality industry. How has that helped you, organize these frantic projects?
I own, as you mentioned, Sunrise Tacos, and I find that, I'm working 15, 16 hours a day. People around you is very, very important, because that's what makes the engine go. And so that background of relying on good management people, your team, is what makes or break you. And it's the same way with our volunteers. We have 300 volunteers. So it helps definitely. They're behind the scenes. And so we're the focal point, but there is a lot of people behind us that really need to take a lot of the credit for what we do as well, along with the donors, of course.
Absolutely. It's probably because we're both been in business so long, we apply a lot of business practices to what we do, and that's probably also what makes us different. I mean, we're a foundation, but we're very efficient. We're very hands-on. That's why, I mean, we go 7 days a week. We go everywhere. We apply this kind of tactics also in our communication outwards. We keep everybody up to date. We do videos, we do pictures. We're on all social media platforms. So we apply these new strategies to keep people informed on what we do and how they can help. And we've been growing so much in support, which is awesome. So it definitely works. I mean, we're making in that regard a lot of good noise. So yeah, we're very happy with that. We get all the support, and people, you know, starts recognize us as a almost as a household. Well, I mean, can you say brand? I mean, people know what the Bangkok Community Health Foundation is and what we're about, and that's a very good sign.
I think one of the things we do is action. You know, a lot of foundations, actually a lot of companies, they have meetings after meeting and sometimes a meeting before the meeting. And we don't do that. We're just action, right? And, you know, and sometimes you're going to make a little bit of mistakes because you are doing action, but we definitely do a lot more positive than we do any little mistake that we might have. Absolutely. If that happens, we say, oops, well, we learned from that, you know, we'll have a good laugh, and then we go on. Next one. Right?
So, I mean, I'm aware of different foundations, and the difference between a charity and a foundation is that you have a legal status. And one of the things to do with being able to generate funds is having that foundation status, because companies can then donate and get a receipt and put it against their accounts. Yeah. So how difficult was it for you to get that foundation status?
You know, there was a long process, but it really was not that long compared to most people. They say normally it takes a year to get the foundation. We had a fast track through, but it took basically 90 days, but those 90 days were probably the longest days of our lives, because we really were during that time period, right? But, you know, looking back, you know, like, oh, wow, that took so long. But actually, because, you know, there's so much happening, it really was a fast process. But there was a lot of frustration because there's so many signatures required. And a lot of times the government office was closed because of COVID, that someone gotten it. And so the whole office was closed. So it was a little bit frustrating, but if it wasn't for that, maybe we'd have gotten it in 2 months, you know, but
So,
but the government definitely helped us,
right, from
you know, to speak back it through.
That's great to hear. I've heard nightmares in the past of setting up a foundation, but from both of yourselves, I mean, obviously with your businesses have been affected by this yourselves, but emotionally, what have you gained from this? I don't mean financially. I mean, you know, emotionally, etc. What sort of gain? You're doing this for a reason, to help people, but there's also a reason internally, you know, that you're getting something back. Yeah.
Oh, last year, in August, when things were really quiet down in that first wave, we actually at that point was thinking about maybe this is the end, because we're only really giving away clothes at that point in time and some hot meals. And, you know, we thought that our job was done, but, you know, there was still a lot of things to do, such as building houses, building parks, things that we're not doing now because of COVID. And so we found ways to educating the kids as far as with international teachers. So we've really evolved in that regard, that no matter what happens, it's just not feeding the people, you know, during COVID times. But what we learned was that we enjoy helping people.
So the focus of your support was, or probably still is, Klong Toei, yeah? And, you know, for the different slum communities around there. Can you tell me a bit about what they're facing? Yeah.
Well, of course, there's around 130,000 people only in Klong Toei, so this is around 39 communities. Most people that live there work in the lower end segments of the job sector. Think about, people at the gas station, delivery drivers, security guards. And in a crisis like this, obviously the lower income jobs go first, which means that they are immediately affected. Now, when they lose their job, that's one person, but in the system here is that, usually the whole family relies on that income. So it ripples out through actually the whole country. It ripples out to where the parents live, maybe where the aunts, the uncles live. So it has this huge effect. So really the biggest problem is just that they lost their job and have no way to regain their job back and thus make any income. So they're really in immediate trouble. There's a lot of people that work, we work by day, we eat by night. But when that work stops, there's no eating by night anymore. So that's the main reason why they need this support. And then obviously Klong Toei itself is also an area, or at least the where the slum communities are, is an area that, there's a lot still to develop there. And that is the future vision. We want to develop community areas, parks, we want to build houses for people, things that we actually have done in the past already. So there's still a lot to do there. People are born there in a situation that they didn't choose. If you ask anybody in Klong Toei, what do you want to do? They say, I want to work, I want to provide for my family, but they just don't have the opportunity to get to work again. So that's why we need to get in there every day and support them as much as we can. We're thinking about developing a job platform where people can express what kind of skills they have, so we connect them to, pretty much the outside world, so to say. So, we are all in for developing the community, but obviously at this point in time, it's just hand to mouth because it's so, the help is so directly needed that's just the thing we need to do at this point in time.
So have you found that Klong Toei is very varied? I know it quite well. I've had made videos and things, charity videos through Father Joe Mayer and things like that in the past. Yeah, and have you found that there's poor and there's poor. Have you found that the less poor, they're coming more into the fold of needing help as well? I'm not saying necessarily middle classes, but the people that maybe had a job and they were earning 15,000 baht a month or 20,000 baht, suddenly they don't have a job. Are you getting more demand from there?
Not really for us. It's still the low income that I would say that are the ones that are really affected. I think the middle class is more on oxygen or even higher class, like instance the other day. But as far as, it's definitely lower class that, when I say lower class, I mean lower income, lower income in that regards, that are reaching out to us and saying, I don't have no job, and, and they show their surroundings, right?
Exactly. That includes then also children, of course, because again, the children are dependent of the income of the parent, and it also includes a lot of elderly. Elderly that sometimes live also completely off the income, or maybe a very, very small pension, that immediately also just face trouble because there is no money anymore. So what can they do, right? So
we might have had an exception the other day, 2 or 3 nights ago, that village that there was 70 houses and 40 of them were quarantined because of COVID. And it's quite a ways from here, about 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Naramin.
And there it was just simply the people were locked into their houses and needed food. So we brought survival bags, right? But that, COVID doesn't matter as far as if you have money or don't have money.
Yeah.
And if you're locked in, you need help, right?
Have you seen more help for mental health support? Because it's, the negative atmosphere around the city, full stop, for anyone, is pretty poor. And nobody knows the end of this, and it just seems to be one wave after another, and then vaccine worries and things like that as well. Have you seen any sort of growing requirement for sort of mental health support?
Well, we definitely heard about that is, and of course, it does affect anybody. We do believe that, us going in every single community, door by door, speaking to people, giving them something from us, is also a mental booster for many.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We show them that they're not forgotten, and in many ways they do feel they are forgotten. They feel alone, they feel left. And that's why it's also important for us to keep also doing that part. Even with the risk involved, we do literally visit every community and go house by house, door to door, talk to them if they want to. And we can just see that some people, they almost don't want to stop talking because they haven't seen anybody for, could be weeks. So they immediately sort of that they just, the waterfall comes out of how they feel and what's going on. So we do definitely know, and we're very happy that we can also provide that mental support as well as
One of the things that that just made me think. The last 3 days, wow, there's really been that sense where people felt that they were forgotten or that nobody cared. If you remember that first case of the oxygen, where the man said, "How can Thai do this to Thai?" He went to a hospital and they basically said, "If you don't leave, we're going to arrest you." And the guy says, "I can't breathe," and they said, "We don't have no room. You just got to go home." Yeah. And so he said, "How can, I've given my life to this country. How can they treat me like this?" Right. And then we went and got oxygen for him, and he was so thankful. And so he felt like someone actually cared, about him. Right. So, and then that, young lady. So there's a lot of cases like that, right? So where people feel that nobody cares about them.
So I just, the reason I'm asking is not by any stretch of the imagination a political reason, but it's just to understand what people are feeling. Do you think there's sort of a growing discontent? I mean, the government's under pressure, and some of that is out of their total control. We understand that. But do you think there's a growing worry, discontent within the people that they are being abandoned?
Klong Toei community, they don't really blame, you get that a lot more in the expats, I just think that as far as the Klong Toei area, I've never heard once that they complain about the government, or not one time.
They're really, people. These people are fighters, and they're born as fighters. I mean, they have to work for every, grain of rice and every inch of territory, so to say. So they're really not like, there's no expectation. Maybe that's the way to put it. I mean, they're just there. They need to provide for themselves and for their families. That's their goal. And not reliant, maybe we know, us know from maybe our own countries where you can always fall back on your government and they should help me. These people don't think this way, right? So they're all and in many ways we're the same. I mean, we're also not thinking about who should do what. I mean, that group should do this. No, what we can do together with all the people that support us, we do. That's our power. That's all we can do, and we will do that as long as it takes. And what everybody else need or should not need to do.
I think that's a very good attitude. Otherwise, you do too much thinking and not enough action. So yes, exactly. I totally agree. So with the volunteers, I mean, you've got you're saying 280, 300 volunteers, yeah? Who do they consist of? Because I understand you work with some local politicians. Yeah, they've helped you in some ways. Yeah, I saw that in your reports. But do you collaborate with other charities as well, or how does the volunteer situation work?
Well, we work. The volunteers are every nationality around the world. Everybody has a purpose. We all come together. And as far as the politicians we work with, it's just like any office. You have to have logistics, and they're invaluable who we work with. Because if you don't work with a certain office or they don't cooperate with you, nothing's going to be accomplished. That's the system how it is in Klong Toei. There's 39 communities, there's 39 community leaders, and everybody has a certain role or step involved. And we're blessed as far as our volunteers where there are no egos, right? That everybody just comes together, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a positive energy.
Right. So what about you got lots of volunteers, lots of people, and you're as much susceptible to COVID as the next person. I've seen some pictures of you on Facebook, you know, hazmat up and things like that. So do you walk around with protection like CSI, or how do you do that?
Well, definitely. I mean, of course, our credo has always been from the beginning, we keep the people we help safe and our own people safe. This is always the number one. So we always make 100% sure that everybody's safe. We adapt to the regulations right now. We're not able to have a group over 5 people. So we scale down. I mean, our operation needs to keep going. In the area we are here today, there is a lot of packing. That was only 2 or 3 times a week. Now that's every day with a smaller group. So we adapt to the situation, making sure really this is super important, of course, that everybody is safe. And of course, when we go into the communities, we do keep all safety precautions. We do wear the PPE where it's needed. So yeah, I mean, our mission, of course, is to keep going. So we constantly need to adapt. A lot of people also say, guys, you're crazy in many ways, because I mean, it's so dangerous right now. But stopping is not an option. The only thing we can do is just be very well prepared, because the hunger and the hardships don't go away. Actually, right now they only get worse.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We don't want to stop. We will not stop, and there's also no option to stop. I mean, literally.
And literally, him and I, we use the N95 mask, double mask. Sometimes he looks like CSI. You know, it just depends on each camp or each particular location, right? But we practice social distancing. We're very well aware of the situation now, even more so.
Yeah.
I mean,
the team get tested regularly.
We're both vaccinated as well.
Right.
So that's a positive. But yeah.
Okay. So
we, if we don't do it, who will? So.
No, I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. So the next question, to allow this to continue, is not, whether you're a foundation, a charity, a company, at the end of the day, you need help. Yeah. So what sort of help are you looking for? You know, I mean, in the UK, they have. I mean, I've been in Thailand 32 years, so when I mention the UK, it's like a foreign country to me, really. But I watch the news. Yeah. But they've got donations where you know, people who don't have money can get packages of food like you're doing, and when they go shopping, they say, you know, drop a bag of rice or some tins of this or whatever it is to help others. Yeah, at supermarkets. So what do you need from people? Do you need volunteers? Do you need materials? Do you need food? Do you need everything?
You know, some people like to shop because they have that good feeling. I mean, it enjoys. There's certain moments of enjoyment when you're buying something for someone else. So we get that, right? So if somebody wants to buy a 5-kilo bag of rice, fantastic, and the cooking oil that we need, and the fish sauce, cans of fish, that's fantastic, and we accept that. However, we buy in bulk because we go through so much things. So we buy at least 1,000 units of whatever. So that's 1,000 5-kilo bags of rice that we're basically buying every 2 days, right?
Right.
So we're buying that at 84 baht. Most all supermarkets are much higher than that. Some people I've seen on rice, you know, they pay 310 baht for a bag of rice, right? So if we were to do it, I mean, if they were rather giving that money, we could have bought 20 kilos of rice versus the 5 kilos that they bought. But that's okay, right? Because at the end of the day, it came from their heart. So either way it works. But if someone wants to really think about the bang for the buck, then it would be the money would probably be the best aspect.
Okay, so how can they go about doing that? Do we just take a link from the Facebook page or your website and donate through that, yeah?
Yes, that's correct. You know, it's a Bangkok bank account foundation. If they want to get a receipt, they're able to get a receipt, of course, as you mentioned. Now, let's say, like, for instance, there was a gentleman a couple weeks ago, and he says, I want over 1,000 people to feel like a king today. So I have these beautiful apples, cost 100 baht in the store, and they did. And he said, I want to make sure that they're served within 4 hours, that they get this beautiful red apple. And so it was around 42,000 baht worth of apples that he donated, and he was able to get the receipt. But wow, it was one of the best apples that anybody could ever envision, right? So that was fantastic, and he then got the tax write-off. We have major corporations that give donations, and they get the
tax write-off.
The tax write-off as well.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Right. Okay. So
in the tax, they can be in kind as well.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up initially about the foundation, because I think it's more than just the value of what you donated. I think there's a times amount when you give to charity that you can get the corporation tax deduction. Yeah. So what about people? Do you need certain types of people, whether it's doctors, nurses, just general volunteers? Because I've always heard from other charities that it's great to have people volunteering, but you need people who are more dedicated rather than just coming along one day because it's just too difficult to manage. Yeah? And also because you're dealing with people and also children and things like that, you have to have a vetting process. What is the process?
You know, it's not really rocket science what we have right now. It's packing a bag or food preparation, not whether you're actually cooking, you're just packing the little food container, right? And so it's pretty well, there's like 5 people in a group. We always have a group leader. And so, when a person signs up in the group, it's first come, first serve. And everybody kind of like polices themselves. Right now, we're looking for people that have a medical profession, because we're going to do a 24-hour emergency hotline for people that need oxygen. And so when you're talking to someone in a panic saying, hey, my husband or my wife can't breathe, then we need to have someone that can speak Thai and also English to communicate, well, what are the symptoms, what is the oxygen saturation level. So we're in the process of finding someone like that. So that's a little bit more.
Okay.
In detail.
Okay. So with some luck, all of this will be over one day regarding COVID. The situation that you're supporting may be less of a demand, but as I see, there'll always be a demand for what you're providing. Yeah. Hence, there's so many charities, whether it's just in Bangkok or up country. What is your plans for the foundation for the future, let's say post-COVID?
Well, like we discussed before, it will change from actually giving the people the fish in their hand to giving people the fishing rod and teach them how to fish. This is obviously this is the vision, right? We want to develop people, we want to develop the communities, because obviously the long term, that's how real change is made. That starts with educating kids, that even goes as far as educating adults, teach them skills, that can be language, that can be how to grow certain vegetables, that can be teaching them sports. So really the vision is that, and we can't wait to do that, because of course when this situation is finally over, that's what we really wanna do, and we would love to do. So yeah, that's the vision, absolutely.
When we go into the community, areas that we've either remodeled or actually built from garbage dumps to now where it's a beautiful house or a beautiful park, these are long-lasting things, and it really kind of cheers you up. If you give someone a bag of food, you never see it again, right? So there's a different thing, you know, and definitely also the education. When you run into one of the kids that have been going into the class, because there's 84 international teachers that are teaching. So you run into one of the kids and they're saying, hi, how are you this morning, right? That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a long-lasting thing, so.
Yeah. Okay, so as a last question, outside what you do you think, is there any general message for the public, Thai, Farang, that you would want you'd want them to do, a general message to the population about this situation?
I'm amazed how many people are so kind and generous. As a whole, people really have come together. And I think that's one of the positive things that have come out of the COVID situation. It's not like people beating each other up and becoming greedy or selfish. It's been exact opposite. And we would like that just to continue.
Yeah.
I think that's a really positive. I think people would be surprised how generous people are and how caring they are towards the other people.
And I mean, you know, it might be daunting for people maybe that watch and think, oh, I want to do something, but I don't know how. We try to really lower this threshold by just accepting anyone that, you know, wants to help, that has an idea. You can message us. I mean, it's on our Facebook, our Instagram. Just shoot it over. I mean, see how you can help. And even if you don't want to do that, then just look around in your neighborhood, see what's going on, talk to someone, ask them, hey, what's going on? Can I help you? I mean, it's really not, you know, I mean, we're doing this on such a huge scale, and that's all very impressive, but very small things can also make a change. So that's really something people
I've actually seen that. I've actually seen that within my own community, that the people around, it's a mix of people who have and have not. And you can really feel that there is more of a community spirit. People are sort of caring, and it takes like those crises, whether it's a war or whatever it is, where people actually come together, and I hope it all gets sorted out. Listen, guys, thank you very much for taking the time here today.
Thank you.
A lot of respect for you. It's an awful lot of work to do. At the very beginning, it's like thankless, and you go through a variety of different challenges. I've done different charity events like comedy nights and things like that in the past. It's a lot of work, so listen, congratulations, and also listen, keep up the good work. Thanks very much, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
So thank you very much to Greg and Friso for letting us know more about the foundation and what they're doing and how people can actually help. I hope you found this interesting, and you can support them morally or financially or with product. Next week we've got a video coming up to do with drones. Hope you find that interesting as well. We hope to see you then. Thank you very much. See you later.